schools. Emma, would you like to come back on anything you've heard?
Yeah, just to agree with Gary that it really is a matter of ethics and justice. And the poorest people do not create the problems. The problems were created by our affluent lifestyles and they're paying the price, so we do need to address it. We do need to invest obviously in the causes of climate change, but it's not so much a band-aid solution, it's about working with local communities around the world so they can find their own innovative solutions to adapt to the effects of climate change that we're experiencing at the moment. And in terms of sources of finance, Oxfam suggested various methods including taxing, aviation, shipping emissions, and also something called Robin Hood tax or financial transaction tax. So it's imposing a small levy on non-personal banking transactions which would raise funds for adaptation to climate change and further emissions.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a few points from the floor on this particular question. Does anyone have anything they want to say?
I went to university, my name's Neil Pullen, I'm a Swindon resident. I went to university in 1990 and I studied agroforestry there, which is a big element of tropical forestry and tropical agriculture. All the things you're talking about, so the relevance of things, were mentioned then. Why haven't we done anything since then? 1990, 2010?
Yeah, okay. I think it's the point I made earlier. I've been in this game 20 years, and I just get appalled, frankly, by the lack of inaction or recognition that it's actually happening. We've got to do something. And when lots of people are banging on the door saying, "Hey, we need to not just do something, we have to really make a step change," and that's what we're talking about. One more point there before we move on.
My name's Steve Russell. Thought I was just having, as probably everyone in this room is very much in favour of encouraging developing economies to be sustainable, and they can see that it's in our self-interest. Have no problem seeing that, but I do wonder whether most of our population does think that way, and I wonder if any members of the panel have any thoughts on how we might convince our great nation that this is the way things should go.
I think actually one way to change things, and I've made a similar suggestion before, sometimes they scam or they shot me, I think. Actually, by not talking about climate change, most people that I speak to are actually turned off. They don't believe, they're sceptics. If you talk about sustainability or saving money, they actually start buying into it. And you know, the climate change reports situation, I don't think helped anyone working in the field of sustainability. And I think there is an awful lot of cynicism around. But when people do start seeing the rising fuel bills, and they see very simple solutions that can be implemented under a sustainability banner, not a climate change banner, under a sustainability banner, under a saving money banner, then they start buying into it. Climate change, I'm afraid, turns a lot of people off. If we talk about things differently, people get it.
I can have something to do with that, which I can come back to, but I think it's not up to me. Let's come on to Gary.
I'll just come back on something Peter's just said. I think the question about the reports turning people off, one of the problems we have is about the paucity of, that wasn't me, the paucity of information, because we're trying to use the same information for different purposes. The reports from Nicholas Stern, for example, isn't about trying to inform the public. It's actually about providing the evidence base to ensure that government and industry takes this thing seriously. To try to then use that to put across a popular message to the public is doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
but just to come back to the issue about
that's a top. Excuse me. That heckle from the floor. That's a top-down solution. We need a top-down, integrated, bottom-up solution.
You should all read the paper I've just written on how to change the behaviour of people in the 50s with people in your... Okay, sorry about that.
I just want to just move on to the point about overseas aid. For me, I'd like to just share one thing about my experience about being in Copenhagen. Was a realisation that I probably should have had before I went, but didn't have till I was there. And that was that addressing climate change isn't actually an environmental issue at all. It's really a social issue. And there won't be any solution, I don't believe, to climate change globally until we address issues of poverty and until we address issues of social justice across the world. And whether Cancun will succeed or fail is really going to be dependent entirely on the way in which nations choose to cooperate and work together. And it's about achieving those social goals that we will find the solutions to the environmental problems. And I saw that so clearly when I saw and listened to the experiences of those developing nations where they are feeling the effects of climate change in such direct and personal ways, where people are dying now, and they needed to communicate that in ways which any talk about the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere just misses completely.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Gary. I'd reinforce some of that and some of the work that we're doing, so that particular age sector, but also that, that we need to actually come at it from a different point of view, I think, is the point of all that.